that touched down in Joplin and left so much destruction in late spring is something so many of us remember, and our hearts reached out to the people in Joplin. And then we move on with our lives. What did they go through rebuilding their lives? Well, I had the privilege to visit with people in Joplin as they are on the road back to recovery.
Joplin's a great family town. It's in the Ozarks. We have a lot of nice lakes, a lot of good people here.
Everybody here is very, very friendly, very nice.
It's a great place to raise family, it really is.
We have some breaking news to tell you about. It's out of Joplin, Missouri. Just a short time ago, a powerful tornado leveled a big chunk of the city.
I got it. I got it. I got it.
Stop.
We need to look up on the right.
Yes. Go back.
Oh, it's getting big.
That's huge.
Oh my gosh. There's just so much devastation. It's hard to get a handle on how widespread this is.
This is beyond devastation, isn't it?
Yes.
You ever seen anything like this in your whole life?
Never.
The thing is, we sit here on 32nd Street, you're 32nd.
I kept looking around waiting for somebody to come, and it hit me. Nobody's going to be here.
It is ironic to think just
We thought it was over. We thought we were goners.
It's going to take years and years for Joplin and its people to recover from the emotional and physical scars of the EF5 tornado that struck here in late May. The reality is, for a lot of people, even when they get past the emotional and the physical, the financial burdens are excruciating. We're going to follow along with some of the stories of people who are trying to rebuild in the midst of this. Few people, if any, have roots in Joplin as strong and deep as Rance Junge. His ties to the city go back more than a century. The Junge family first came to Joplin in the 1890s and opened a bakery there in 1900 with 7 employees. The business grew, eventually employing as many as 650 people. At one point during the Great Depression, Junge Baking Company was Joplin's largest employer. While helping put food on Joplin's tables, the Junges nourished the community in other ways. In 1925, Rance's great-uncle donated the land for Joplin's high school football stadium, which was named Junge Field. Rance worked in the family bakery to help put himself through pharmacy school and followed in his family's footsteps by running his own business in Joplin, Pronto Pharmacy. After the tornado's terror had come and gone, Rance was left to sift through the rubble of the business he'd run for 27 years. Describe for me what we're standing on right here and what you went through, if you could.
Well, this is what's left of the pharmacy. It was just, the building just completely exploded on us, but we've been keeping an eye on the weather, and it didn't look bad out, and it wasn't that threatening. And then I saw the lights flickering, and I thought that's awfully strange, and something must be taking down power poles. And so I looked out front, and it was really relatively clear. And so I thought, you know, I better look in the back. So I came to the back door here.
This door in question?
This door in question, yes.
Woo!
And so I opened up the back door, and with that, I saw just one humongous wall on that ridge. And it was roaring, of course, as loud as you could imagine. And I knew we were in serious trouble at that moment. So then I just turned. There was a door here to the separated the convenience store and pharmacy, and I said, look, we don't have time. We've got to get to the bathroom now. By that time, the whole building was coming apart. There was a huge down pressure, and it crushed the sink against my leg. But the bruise was across here on my leg, and the reason why was because I had my legs wrapped around the back of the toilet to hang on, because if I tried to protect my head with it, it would have sucked me out. So I had the pipes in the side of the toilet. I knew it was bolted to the floor, and we just held on for dear life. But anyway.
So these toilets saved the lives of five people.
It's amazing, but they did.
What are you going to do with your life moving forward?
Well, I'm going to rebuild, but it's going to be difficult because what I had here was great, because we have the hospital across the street over there. We were surrounded 360 degrees with doctor's offices, okay? And then we had a nice neighborhood throughout, and none of those exist anymore.
Are you going to wait a while to see how the dust settles before you decide to reopen?
Well, we have to, because otherwise I couldn't make an intelligent business decision on it. In something of this magnitude, how do you go back into business? Look 360 degrees around you, what do you see? I mean, you see a hospital that was our lifeline, the doctors that are our lifeline, the neighborhood that was our lifeline. This isn't a normal event.
So you're at a classic crossroads, but you're not somebody who's a newcomer here. I mean, your roots are as deep as they could be in Joplin.
Right.
And right now, it would be a bad business decision for you to just go and build again.
It's impossible, because many people here are leaving because they just don't want to deal with this. And then a lot of people won't come here now because there's been so much death, and so they avoid it. And so if I was to put a temporary here, people wouldn't even want to come because it's a reminder of their lost home, lost loved ones. So it's a problem. Right now, I want to do as much as I can to help rebuild Joplin. That's most important for me, because I'm always going to be part of this community and our family.
How are you going to eat, though?
Well, fortunately, I wasn't over-leveraged like what we've seen with this bad economy, and I live below my means. So right now, I'm not starving.
So you're cheap like me.
I'm cheap like you.
Good job. So you were prepared for the proverbial rainy day.
Right.
It happened.
I had zero debt. This wasn't levered at all. There was no loans on anything. I don't have any personal loans. I always paid for everything as I went. It's kind of old, maybe by today's standards, where people live off their credit cards. That's always the way I felt better doing business. You know, I mean, look at the banks levered 20 to 40 to 1.
Right.
And they get bailed out, okay? I provided productive employment with no leverage. And are we gonna get a bailout?
You're not going to have a bailout, are you?
I just can't imagine.
I have two independent insurance adjusters, experts here. I want you to meet
Well, that's great.
John and Gabe.
Nice to meet you guys.
Nice to meet you.
What I was concerned about was when you have your insurance companies pushing you to get back into business quickly. But in something of this magnitude, how do you go back into business? Look 360 degrees around you, what do you see? I mean, you see a hospital that was our lifeline, the doctors that are our lifeline, the neighborhood that was our lifeline. This isn't a normal event. If it didn't touch me, I'd be worse off than if I was blown away. So to come back here and rebuild would be suicide, in my opinion.
What is normal in Rance's case where it makes no sense for him to rebuild at this point?
Obviously, the hospital and what happens to that is going to control most of this for a square mile around here. Because if the hospital's going to rebuild and they know that, then they're good to rebuild right where they are and come back. If it's going to move 6 miles away or something, then who knows what's going to happen other than a vacant lot there. So talk to your company, and hopefully your adjuster is cognizant enough of what's going on here that he can understand that you can't make that decision right away. We're going to have to wait a little while before we decide. As soon as we know kind of what's going to shake out here, we're ready to go, and that is assuming that you want to continue your business.
So So if you were to hit me with a final thought in the midst of all this destruction, what is the greatest moment that has come since this for you?
Well, the worst thing's a horrible loss of life, obvious. And, you know, I was one of the fortunate survivors. But my mother was on her way up here because she heard the hospital and the pharmacy were wiped out. And I had to help some other people and came back here trying to beat her here so she wouldn't see this rubble because she would think nobody could live. And seeing her see me alive was the greatest moment out of all this. There's some good that comes out of everything.
You raised a family here?
That we did. Son and a daughter.
And are they sentimental about the house now, or?
Oh, yeah. I can tell, by, at least from my daughter's reaction, is, you know, it was shock. You know, it's hard to believe that the house you grew up in is gone.